Hey everybody, it's Alan. I haven't done too many plant videos because I've been working on my fence and my bench and other things, just doing other things around the yard. So, in the hurricane about 4 or 5 years ago, this post, the old post, snapped in the ground. And I just rigged it with a piece of 2x4. And so the gate, which you can see is right here, which the whole rest of the fence is like 20 years old, maybe more. And I finally put a new post in, so man, thank God. It was just driving me crazy. The whole thing was just wobbly, never sat upright. Now the gate closes beautifully. And as you can see, I'm replacing the old worn out wood. If we go over here, we can still see some incredibly old worn out wood. That's, on the next stage. Grab some of these plants out of the way. I mean, talk about old and worn out. So this is going to be beautiful. And this is culled lumber. I know it's upside down, but 70% off. So you can't beat that. And it's got a couple little cracks and stuff, and that's really all. Structurally, it's going to be fine for my bonsai. And these have been treated now with the water sealant, and they really just need to be nailed down to the bench. The back one is a little short, so I'm going to add another piece of wood into here so it will be able to be nailed onto that wood. And then I'm going to start moving the trees off the really, really worn out bench that has the beehive. And I'll show you that right now. So I've talked about this bench in other videos. I wanted to get all the plants off of here. And there are so many different plants. And most of them need some work. And you can see this is some crusty wood. These three pieces of wood right here, this one, and this one, were old decking that came from my neighbor across the street and then over one. And what happened was new owners bought. I've lived in this house 25 years, and I think there's been 5 different people in that house. So new owners bought it to flip it, and so they tore out the old deck. And this is that old deck. And it's still sort of structural, but it's all coming off. All of this old crusty wood is coming off. This is brand new bench that I put up a few months ago. And here's my Brazilian rain tree and my fusion technique bald cypress that seem to be growing beautifully. They're certainly happy little critters. And then of course there's the beehive. I have a wild beehive, which you can see right there. And if your hair is standing on the back of your neck and you say, oh my God, bees, he's going to get stung. Actually, bees are quite docile critters. And oh, look at that guy with the orange pollen. See him with the orange pollen? And bees want nothing to do with me. These guys want nothing to do with me. What they want is the ones that are leaving want to go find pollen and nectar, and the ones that are coming have already found it, and they're bringing it back to the hive. They don't want anything to do with me. Now, if I got in there and I started jostling with them, then they would sting me, absolutely. But my hand is only a foot away from the actual entrance, and they are living in this cinder block upright. And I've never really checked it out, but it's pretty wild. So these are domesticated Italian honeybees, but it's a wild hive. They just set up shop here. But I want to get all of this wood, including the cross beams that hold the wood into place. I want to take all of that out of there. So my first focus is all of this stuff right here. And I don't know if you can tell, but this bench here is leaning at quite an angle. And the cinder block uprights, and you can see it also angles way off and then it angles back. The whole thing just needs to be rehabbed. Luckily, the upright where the bees are is still pretty level. But I'll need to take this upright here and all these others, especially this one. This one is leaning tremendously. Get rid of all the wood and all the plants. And these plants that you see are all going to go onto the other bench that I started with. That brand new bench is going to receive, well, they're not going to receive the Portulacaria because the squirrels use the fence as a highway and they eat Portulacaria. So I'm not going to give them the opportunity to do that. So what I will do is I will take these Portulacaria that are on this bench that you see. And we have some other stuff. We have a funky little succulent and some crown of thorns cuttings. I think I got 100%. And we also have a very large ficus tree here that I need to work in an upcoming video. But I also have a whole bunch of stuff. This is called Brazilian red cloak, and it flowers with a huge red flower cluster. And actually the redness comes from bracts, it's not the flowers, much like a bougainvillea. Here is a Brazilian rain tree in a quote-unquote pot, but it has grown into the ground. So this group of Portulacaria are ones that I featured in videos where I restyled them, took them out of the pot, root pruned them, repotted them, cut them way back. So they're going to stay here. And these are the bald cypress fusion, and they could go on that new bench, even if it's just temporarily. Then bring all the Portulacaria off of the old crusty bench, remove that wood, get those cinder block uprights back to being level, and in the meantime take all the Portulacaria that we see here and put them where the bald cypress are. I don't think squirrels eat bald cypress. And then here's a Premna that's destined for the ground. Got a pretty nice trunk. And my Brazilian rain tree, once again, that needs some work. And I did not get seed pods. It had flowered in 3 different places, but seed pods did not develop. So, oh well. And then this is just a giant mess of weeds over here, but it's hiding Premna. There's Premna right there. And my snapdragons are just about finished. And here's my Nia, which are beginning to grow. You can see new growth on the tops. And in the background you can see the bald cypress in the ground right in front of the other bench. And they've struggled because it still was very dry. And a lot of these trees here have also all been worked very recently. So I can take the Premna, here's the Premna, here's the Premna, and there's a whole bunch more Premna right here. All these Premna can also go on that new bench that I showed in the beginning. And then that will give me space to bring the Portulacarias that I do not want to put on that bench because I don't want the squirrels to eat them. And then we can start to work on that, rehabbing that really, really old bench. And I do believe that I will be able to replace all the wood. Okay, so if we come here, that's the beehive. Can we zoom in? There's the beehive right there. So as you can see, there's the panels that go parallel, and then there's that one 2x4 that's perpendicular. I want to get rid of it too. Both 2x4s that are above the beehive are also very old and crusty. But bees are diurnal creatures. They do not fly at night. And so my plan is to, at the crack of dawn, before they've really even begun to flown, have everything ready, have my new bench built, and then very slowly and gently remove this old crud and replace it with the new bench. And it should not disturb them too badly because they're basically all asleep. There may be a few that fly up and wondering what's going on. So that's the plan. I want to get rid of that old bench so bad. And it's coming true. And here's some more bald cypress that are back on yet another bench. And these are seedlings that I just never even got to. I have numerous videos of bald cypress that I did remove. I don't know if you can see it, but this group is in a mud tray. And I had numerous ones just like this that I separated. Some of those are the fusion ones, some of those are the singles in the ground, and some of those are the two group plantings that I have. But those I just never even got to. And they're perfectly healthy. There may be some attrition. Some of the smaller ones that are inside that are getting shaded out may not make it, but I think I have enough bald cypress. So there we go. There's the plan. Here's my elephant tree. Oops, I'm still zoomed in. Let's zoom back out. My elephant tree that I just worked on, and the cutting so far is still alive. And a tiger bark retusa, and a monstrosity of some kind of succulent, and it has 6 different seed stalks. Pretty interesting. So I will have more babies of those. And the sun is shining brightly. We had some really good rain. We had 7 days out of 8 where it rained. But then the Saharan dust cloud came, and that tends to inhibit rainfall. So we've had a few dry days, and I'm watering my collection right about this same time, right about noon. Virtually everything. Just water everything. I'm probably about to do that. So that's where I've been. I've just been working on different things. Haven't really done any plant videos. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the transformation. Now, I also, talked about, I guess I can come over here. Talked about replacing the bench from the end to the beehive. But that's only stage 1. So here's the beehive again. I don't know, can we zoom in? Because they're interesting little critters. You see those guys with their heads down that are just flapping their wings like crazy? They're not really doing anything, they're not really going anywhere, they're just flapping their wings. Those are ventilating the hive. The beehive works best at about 90 degrees, so when it gets hotter than that, certain individuals come to the entrance and just flap their wings like crazy, ventilating the hive so it stays at the optimum temperature. So that's pretty cool. And boy, they sure are busy. It's kind of fun to watch what color pollen they bring in. Earlier we saw a guy with really red pollen. And lately they've been doing a lot of white pollen. Come on, there's a guy with the yellow. Did you see him with the yellow? They don't stay, they don't linger, that's for sure, once they land. Anyway, so then we have this group that also is, you want to talk about crusty. I mean, look at this. I mean, just insane. How crusty it is. I mean, it's so crusty that it's just falling apart. The wood has just cracked, and it's just... And then this is the same way too, a whole nother 8 foot. And Once again, wood that is just so worn out that I'm amazed it's still holding plants. This is the rest of my podocarpus that I'm growing for trunk thickness. I only got to 2 that I did a video, and I want to get to all the rest of them. They have some really nice trunks, but I want to cut them back. I want to root prune them, give them some more space, because you can see the roots here. They're all fully rooted into these 10-inch bulb pans, so I want to root prune them, give them even more space to grow back into the 10-inch bulb pan. And I'm thinking very seriously, probably this guy is a potential candidate for putting them in the ground. I'm going to put some in the ground. Some are a little funky, and then some have really thickened beautifully. So the thickest, most aggressive ones are going to go in the ground. There's one that's got a huge trunk. Easily 2 inches across. When we get him in the sun, there we go. So once again, just this whole bench needs to be completely replaced. But I'm going to start from the beehive to the end and then work here. I don't want to disturb the bees too much because I like them. I want them to be here. They're cool. They did swarm at least once, because man, that was crazy. All of a sudden there was like hundreds of bees just everywhere, and it was a swarm. I tried to get a picture, some video, but I was late. They swarmed and then took off before I could really take decent video of the procedure. So there we go. And all these roots here that you see, that's ficus. This whole bench was all ficus from the end to about into here. And they just ate this bench up. Here's some more ficus roots. Ficus roots. Here's a really big ficus root. And if I'm not mistaken, there's some more ficus roots going down to the ground. But I took all those guys out of there in preparation for rehabbing the benches. I don't want to put these portulacarias against the fence because, once again, I do not want the squirrels to eat them. Whew, so I got a lot of stuff going on. This whole group is pretty much stuff that's been repotted very recently. Here's my bald cypress grove. And I also have some water lilies. This is a night blooming red that hasn't begun to flower yet. This is a purple, what's it called? Micranthus, a tiny little flower that I just got, and it's doing beautifully. And then, oh no, only one flower. Let's go over here and look at the flower. An incredibly beautiful pink water lily. It's actually living in an aquarium that I catch rainwater with. And this is the same variety. It has 2 beautiful buds, but only one flower, and it is fading. So there we go. I'm getting hot. I'm going back in, get a drink of water. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.